All right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of hashtag CB99 Talks. This is episode 79. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. All right, y'all. Back with another episode. Back with the first episode of 2021. And I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everybody is having a good New Year so far. Hope they had a decent holiday. Like I said, I just been grinding and doing the same old thing. But didn't really do didn't really do anything too big for either holiday, just kind of chilling out and of course, jumping on here and watching fights. The same stuff. A lot of the same stuff I've been getting it in, but I've been trying to build up the channel a little bit more and do some other things outside of, the channel, stuff that I'm working on. So yeah, man, it's been busy, man. Already, the beginning of the year's been pretty busy as well. But we back with another one, y'all. We back with another one. A lot of stuff to talk about, as far as WMMA. And with this episode here, I just really wanted to focus on, what's to come. What's to come early the first quarter of 2022, and also what's to come on this channel as well. I got a few other topics I want to discuss, because I had a few people hit me up about a couple of situations, going on in WMMA, which I'll go down here in a minute. So first off, I just want to talk about what's to come for, Bellator as far as their activity, just listening to Scott Coker talk about some upcoming fights. I want to, kind of go into that and just talk about the activity of the Bellator flyweight division, what I want to see moving forward. And then we'll go down the list of the future of, the UFC, well, not the future of the flyweight division, the UFC. They're doing good. They're doing fine. But I want to talk about the upcoming fights for the UFC's cards. Of course, we got one cancellation already, one that's already ripped my heart out. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about what's coming up in the UFC. Then I want to, discuss Joanna talking about her possible title shot, late 2022, which I don't know if she's going to get now, but she actually said that was on the table for her. So, I want to talk about that. And Liana Jojua, I want to discuss Liana Jojua and, the dark place she said she was kind of in after being cut from the UFC. So I kind of want to give you my thoughts on that whole situation. And like I said, discuss the channel, what I got coming up this year as far as new things, some of the same stuff I got planned, of course, that I'm going to keep on doing. But I just want to talk about a few other things I'm going to start doing as far as videos. So, yeah, man, like I said, not much going on. I just been keeping a track of WMMA. I really wanted to kick off boxing talk this year as far as a channel, because I know y'all said y'all wanted to hear me talk boxing on a separate channel, but boxing is just a crazy world right now. I mean, everybody else in the, YouTube world as far as boxing comes, they just been doing videos, but I'm like, you ain't got no fights coming up, so it's kind of a waste of time and kind of a waste of energy, to talk about fights that aren't happening. You know what I mean? Like, continuing to talk about fighters, calling fighters out on Twitter, but you never get in a fight. You know what I mean? Like, over the past few months and past year, we had some decent fights, but when it came down to it, it was like, y'all doing more talking and doing more tweeting than fighting. You know what I mean? Like, everybody in the UFC, pretty much, when they talk, their fight is coming to fruition. Here and there you have some beefs, Twitter beefs and things like that, but overall, you still get a good fight out of these people. But like with boxing, man, it's almost like, wow. It's like, wow. The fights you really want, you're not getting. It's all talk. Everybody pulling out at the last minute or just saying, I can't do this because I'm the A side, he's the B side, or whatever the situation is. It just kind of slows it down. So, the future of boxing is really shaky right now. So we'll see, pushing forward. I mean, there's some things I could talk about, just historical things I know, of course, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, the future of Bellator is actually brighter than boxing. And that's what I want to talk about, because Scott Coker, he's been talking about the cards that's coming up this year. I was looking at a recent interview where he was discussing Chris and Kat, and he said that, Kat wants that fight with Chris Cyborg. That's a fight that she's been asking for. So more than likely, she probably will get the fight. She's going to get that fight sometime probably early this year. And, he said he has a lot of big fights planned. He wants to start hitting us with cards, February, March, April, May. Those were the months that he named, right? So I'm really curious as to, how many women fights are going to be on these cards, though. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like a lot of these women in the featherweight and flyweight division especially, you only get to see like once a year, right? So hopefully he has something planned to at least get like two fights on a card, 2 fights on a card, maybe one of the lower level flyweight fights, and then like the main, top crop flyweights could fight 1 fight on there, so hopefully that'll start to balance out. I mean, we had a few cards like that last year, but there was a few Bellator cards where it was just like all men, you know what I mean? So in the meantime, it just kind of had me like, how are these other ladies feeling about that, right? But yeah, first up, he has lined up, like I said, no date yet, Chris Cyborg and Kat Zingano. I already kind of broke down how I felt about that fight. It's not really a fight I feel like Kat's gonna really have a big chance in. I broke down why, because she's been in the division for 2 years now, only fought once a year, and they were all unranked fighters, right? So it doesn't really show me that she's ready for that dangerous fight against Chris. Maybe she's trying to save that energy for that fight, maybe, but I thought she would have came in and tried to fight somebody like Arlene Blencowe, Leah McCourt, even Kavanaugh herself, just names like that. I thought she would have tried to put that type of statement on her resume coming in, but no, she just wants the cat fight. She wants the cat fight. So we'll see how Chris fight, so we'll see how that goes. So he's working on that fight. And, you also have Leah McCourt, Sinead Kavanaugh coming up. You have Vita Arteaga versus Kerry Melendez. That's another fighter I was looking forward to. She's already 37, and her last fight was at the end of 2020. So, she's been out for over a year. I'm ready to see her come back. I mean, that's going to be explosive. That's going to be explosive because Arteaga, she's a little tank in there, If you don't have the power to stop her, she's going to keep coming. So I'm looking forward to that fight. These girls, they got to get back in there and get it, especially Kerry Melendez being 37. She needs that time to get it in, to see if she could go for the belt, right? So with that being said, bringing up the flyweights, looking at the future of the flyweights. Well, first off, let me talk about this real quick. Yeah, Scott Coker has these cards coming up February, March, April, May. So do you guys really think it's going to pick up, from here, like for Bellator? For me, I think we might get the same like we did last year, maybe a little bit more, depending on how the pandemic is as well, because Bellator, they did have to cut a lot of their ties with the Europe fighters, the European fighters like Mandy Bowen, Olga Rubin. There was a few others too as well. They had to be cut because of visa issues. They couldn't come here because of the pandemic, right? So I think the more the roster gets cut, that is something that has to do with the activity and why they have to cut down on so many cards, right? Because if the roster's smaller, then the schedule gets smaller, right? So it's still up in the air on whether or not it's going to pick up to me. Maybe like we'll start off fast, like there was that period where we had like from Bellator April, May, June, and then like towards the end of the year just kind of slowed down. It's almost like a sports season, you know what I mean? Whereas you get 50 events from the UFC, but like with Bellator, you might get like one little season in between, where everything is just on the same, in the same amount of, the same consistent months. Like this year, you might get a strong first half, and then the middle part might be slow. Then he might, finish it off in like October, November, December, right? Just depending on what the pandemic is like and how many fighters they have that can answer that call, right? So I think as far as it picking up and being more consistent last year, I hope it is. I hope it will be, but more than likely, I think it might be like the same. Like you might have these cards February, March, April, May, and then after that, there might be a period in between where it slows down. Then it'll pick up at the end of the year, right? That might be what it's like. So, yeah, but because you still do have like fighters like Leah McCourt, they could be active. They could be active. I think they're bringing in their fan bases, but a champion like Chris Cyborg, she likes to stay active too. So I got to give her a lot of respect. So they should be able to stay a little bit more consistent because, if she has this cat fight coming up, she'll be like, okay, that's cool. I'll take that. Arlene Blencowe might get a rematch. Who else could probably come into the mix? Leah McCourt's fighting her way up. So eventually you'll get that fight, So Chris could wind up fighting 3 times this year. She's the one that's always asking for fights, even though she's the defending champion. She doesn't mind going at it, right? So the featherweight division might fare out better a little bit. They might pick up more. They'll probably pick up as far as putting on more fights, and then you still have like the unranked fighters that could come in and put on shows on the lower level. But it's really the flyweight division that I'm kind of worried about, the future of the flyweights here, because you have a lot of young fighters even at the bottom that some of them are fighting 2 times a year, but I would like to see a little bit more activity here from even like the mid tier and of course the upper tier. The champion, like the champion Julianna Velazquez. Let's start with her. Like, she's only fought once since the Denise Kielholtz fight. Back in June. Whereas you got like Valentina Shevchenko fights in April. Then she'll end the year with, there have been years where she fought 3 times a year, but this past year she fought in April, coming off of that surgery before that, I think, right? Because of surgery, then Jennifer Maia at the end of the year, 2020, then she came back in April, then she came back in September to fight Lauren Murphy, right? And now she'll probably be ready to come back as soon as possible this year, right? Whereas Julianna Velazquez fought like in the mid part of 2021, the summer, beat Denise Kielholtz, and then after that, went the next 6 months without a fight. So she fought once a year, right? So, everybody wants to see a consistent champion, especially if you're a fan of her style. Like you want to see her go in there and defend that belt. But I guess it kind of comes down to that again, where, the roster being too small, you're only going to have them mix it up a few times. So with that roster being small, they can't force people into a fight so quick, because they want to try to spread it out over the course of a year. But that just means they need to add in a few more women there, add in a few more women in the flyweight division. Because I'm sure that on the lower level, their pay might be just as good as like the UFC. So maybe they could just up it a little bit, make it a little bit more, tempting than what the UFC offers. Because some of these girls complain about the UFC pay on the lower level there, right? So the Bellator, however their organization, they do it, maybe they could just up it a little bit and, probably get a few more girls signed to their flyweight division. Because like I said, the UFC, they have a lot, but that means they have to pay out more money, which means like on the lower level, their pay might be, kind of spread out over over 20 some odd unranked flyweights, right? You got the top 15, plus you got over 20 flyweights that aren't ranked, right? So if you're paying out that many people, of course, the pay is not going to be as much. But I think if you have like at least 10 unranked fighters in Bellator in the flyweight division, you could sign one here and there, and the pay could be a little bit more, a little bit more for each of them, right? To try to keep them there, give them some type of incentive is what I mean. And even to get them to fight more, right? So we'll see how that works though. But yeah, I just hope that the future of the flyweight division moving forward, we get a little bit more activity here. I'm sure these ladies, they want to fight like Denise Kielholtz and so on. Like Denise Kielholtz hasn't fought since the championship fight. Liz Carmouche, she's one of the more active ones, I guess you could say. Kind of Watanabe, she's been active. But girls like Kate Jackson, I'm not sure she was coming off an injury. I'm sure, she wants to get back in there. Again, Loreta, Avseragova. Avseragova's rounding out the top 10 at 4-0. And I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, she got to get that work in, because she's right next to number 9, Vanessa DePorto, right? But that's such a big talent gap that I think they still need to add more flyweights in there, so that can kind of be, spread out a little bit more, right? Because that just kind of seemed kind of weird having a 4-0 next to a much more experienced fighter like Vanessa Porto, right? So that kind of shows you what they're working with. But hopefully, man, they can really get this thing fleshed out, and they can put out enough cards over the course of 2022 just to keep these girls active. Like, it may seem like a lot when we say, okay, they fight 2 times a year, but it just seems like some of the top level fighters, like, like Laredo, I said, as they're they fought 2 times last year, but like, what about Bruna Ellen? Bruna Ellen didn't fight since 2019. Of course, it was the pandemic in 2020, but she didn't come back until, 2021. So fighters like that are like 25, 26, I kind of think about them, because when they're in Bellator and they only fight once a year, or, they're skipping out for 2 years, they're missing out on their prime years, or they're missing out on their years to be growing, to develop. Of course, they're training, but training is one thing and fighting is another, right? So hopefully they can get that work in they need. That's why I kind of look at these fighters like Bruna Ellen, like, I think they would fare better in the UFC at this point. Like some of these prime girls, 24, 25, 26, once they get to a certain level here, maybe they would want to say, okay, maybe I need to go over here where I can fight, a much more active year. I can have a much more active year. I can get it in. But, the ladies like, a little bit older, like when they pushing 35, 36, they could kind of ride their career out in Bellator. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a point where even like fighters like Alima Lay McFarland, I was thinking about her, like, I think somebody like her would probably want to stay. Actually, she probably want to stay in Bellator. Not like Aleem Lake Far, but like Denise Kielholtz, kind of Watanabe. They might want to take their chances in the UFC at some point too. So they would want to get in as much experience here and look good. So it'll be much more, like tempting, enticing for Dana White to say, oh, I can sign them once their contract is up, or like McMahon and them can be looking at them, right? So I just hope that this year, 2022, is a good year for the flyweights and Bellator, and we can get at least I'm trying to be nice here, at least one fight, one flyweight fight a card on this February, March, April, May schedule that he has coming up. Nothing's been released yet. He's just been talking about it. Nothing's been signed for Kat and Chris. Or also, Julianna Velazquez is coming back against Liz Carmouche. Liz Carmouche is getting that title shot, which she earned it. She went 3-0, right? Since getting into Bellator. So hopefully, besides those top level championship fights, we can get at least like one other fight. So give me at least 2 flyweight fights. Get these girls active, man, because they need it. If not, they do need to go over to the UFC and even fight on the lower rank, because when it comes down to it, they just need to get the experience in if they really want to be an MMA fighter, right? So guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think about the whole situation with Bellator in the future of the flyweights there. The UFC's upcoming cards. Let's just take a look at a few of the cards here. I'm just gonna go down some of the fights that are coming up. Well, first off, my heart's been broken already, just so y'all know. Vivian Arujo versus Alexa Grasso. The whole fight is off now. It's just off, because at first Vivian Arujo had pulled out because of an undisclosed injury. They were looking for an opponent for Alexa Grasso. That's why I threw out a video yesterday, made some suggestions. Hey, maybe we could get Blanchfield, Aaron Release, so on, whoever, right? But the card's been scrapped altogether. Couldn't get an opponent, so Alexa Grasso is off. It's off, man, altogether, man. I would have taken the Alexa Grasso fight versus replacement, but now I'm just like, wow. I'm supposed to be used to this, but this was a fight that I was really looking forward to in 2022. It was like the one fight I was looking forward to in January, period, the flyweight fight I was looking forward to. But, that one's off. First card coming up next week, January 15th, we have Caitlin Chookagian, Jennifer Maia rematch. Interesting fight. I'm going to watch it, but it's not Arujo versus Grasso. Something about those two styles I just wanted to really see, But, we got Chookagian and Maia. I got to go back and look at the pace and the style of the first fight again, because I'm kind of favoring Chookagian early on here just because of her IQ and her style. This might just be one of those style matchups where, Chookagian just has that style that Maia can't get to, So I'm going to go back and watch that first fight. Maybe I'll do a round by round for that. But that's one fight that's coming up. I'm looking not really like looking forward to, but that's one. Let's see, what else do we have on the schedule? We have Corey McKenna and Elise Reed in the strawweight division. Now I feel that fight's going to be competitive. That fight's going to be a little bit more competitive because Elise Reed, that's her division. I know everybody's seen Sarge Eubank, take her out in one round, but Elise Reed is a solid strawweight. If you go back and look at some of her Cage Fury fights, she's good on the ground. She has some decent hands. This is what she needs. A good test in this contender fight winner in Corey McKenna. Former Cage Fury strawweight champion. That's where I wanted to see her go straight to. But, she took the call at 125, and I was already like, that's a bad call. It was like Tabitha Ricci taking on Manon Firo. Bad mismatch. I know she just wanted to get signed, but, man, I really didn't see her winning that fight. Now, if you put her in there with Lupi or Demopoulos or one of those 115ers, I would have gave her a big chance. You know what I mean? But I knew she wasn't going to win that fight. But I think going into this fight, she has a very winnable chance. I think she has some well-rounded skills about her. We just seen more Corey McKenna, more talk about her. But I've been watching Elise Reed for a minute now, so I know what she's capable of. So I think it's a 50-50 fight. What else do we have coming up on these cards? Hang on one second. We'll pull up this schedule. Let's see what we got here, y'all. We're just going off top some of the fights we have. I think that's the only fight we have on that card, though. That's the only fight that we have on. Well, Chookagian Maia 2 is the only women's fight we have on January 15th. But on the 22nd, we lost on UFC 270. We lost fight I was just thinking of, Arujo versus Grasso. We lost that fight, but we still have Poliana Matejo versus Jinyoon Kim on that card, and we have Jasmine Jazzy Vicious versus Kay Hansen. Those lower level, we got those 2 lower level flyweight fights on that card. All right, and let's see. So those are some of the fights I'm looking forward to. The one card I'm really looking forward to, like I said, is March 5th. Fingers crossed, y'all. We got some good fights on that card. You know, we got Maria Agapova versus Marina Moreau. If Marina Moreau shows up, right, we got that fight. Of course, we got Manon Fiorot versus Jessica Ai. And then we have Marina Rodriguez versus Yan Zhang. All on that card, man. All on that one card. So, yeah, the future's looking bright for the UFC, of course. So I'm not really going to go down the full-on schedule because we do that just about every day on my channel anyway. But I'm just looking like as far as like the whole outlook. I think for the flyweight division in the UFC, even the strawweight division, which I'll talk about here a little bit as well, like the flyweights, I think, you know, this is going to be a big year where we start to get some fighters, where we start to get some of the older fighters weeded out. Let's put it that way. I think that this is going to be the year where we see a lot of the older fighters retire. You know, we're starting with Roxanne. Roxanne's going to, you know, get her last fight in February against Casey O'Neill, right? So she's down. Then it's possible that, like I said, Manon Fiorot could retire just God. We never know, right? And we have a fighter like Jojua Wood. We don't know where she's at right now. She could be on her way out, depending on what she looks like in her next fight, right? So those are like 3 fighters right there. Then, of course, you have a few of the veterans in the top level, like Caitlin Chookagian. They're still there. Lauren Murphy, you know, there's a question mark over her head after her performance against Valentina Shevchenko. So there's a few in there that might be looking to, you know, hang it up soon. Like Caitlin Chookagian, she's one I think that would hang it up just because she wants to start the family. She wants to do the family thing. You know, she's not one to just, I think, get dominated by any other girl except if it's Shevchenko or Andrade. She's going to hang around until she's done getting her money, right? Until her contract is up. That's going to be the reason why she leaves. It's going to be on her own terms, I believe. You know, Caitlin's that type of fighter. I think she's a good businesswoman right now in the UFC, too, is this side of Valentina in the flyweight division. But some of the other ladies, I think, that haven't really, like, put it together to even get to the title shot, and they just continue to lose, like Jojua Wood, I think their day might be it. So the future of the flyweight division right now, going forward in 2022, I think we're going to see a lot of fighters, you know, start to be weeded out, and then we're going to start seeing these fighters like in my triple threat and so on, or you know, quadruple threat now. We're going to start seeing those fighters infiltrate this top 15 now. We're going to see these girls start getting into that top 15. I mean, we already have 14 and 15. We have Manon and Casey O'Neill in the top 15, of course. You know, Miranda Maverick, she's still unranked, but this could be a big year for her. You know, this could be a big year for her. Erin Blanchfield's unranked, but she's starting off well. You know, this is going to be a big year for her. She's calling out Casey, Macy Barber. She wants to get number 13, Macy Barber, at some point. Melissa Gatto stopping Sarge Eubank. That's big for her. So with a very good ending to 2021, these girls are going to start off 2022 explosive. Believe that. You know, these girls, bottom line, they're going to get in there and they're going to get that work in. They're ready to call names out, and they're ready. You know, Casey calls people out. Erin does. Who else calls people out? Well, Manon just fights anybody. She's not doing a lot of talking, right? You know, so lower half, you're going to start seeing these ladies push their way in. Believe me, you know, they are going to get in there by probably like mid 2022 this summer. If Manon can defeat Jessica Ai, that pushes her up the rankings. That's going to make room for some of these other ladies to enter in. Then you still have these other stragglers too, you know, like Jillian Robertson and Montana De La Rosa. They still have age and youth on their side. So they need to start, you know, committing themselves 100% to this game. They need to put some of these other things down that they're doing and, you know, suit up for war. Like if they want to continue to compete, because like I said, Manon Fiorot's a little bit older than these girls. So you're going to see her move much more like she's going to move like a mature fighter. You know what I mean? She's going to be moving like the mature fighter because she knows that time is not on her side at this point, right? You're already in your 30s, so you got to get yours. You can see her movements different than Montana and Jillian right now. You know, she's not married, you know, and like I said, she's already accomplished a lot outside of this UFC, so she's ready to go, right? She's ready to keep on pushing. So Montana and them, they gotta start buckling down now. You know, they've been in the UFC longer than Manon and so on, but they haven't got to the top 15 and stayed. They haven't pushed up to the top 10. Jillian Robertson has some, second to Valentina, has the most wins in the flyweight division. Well, why is she not ranked? I think we know why, right? So it's time to start working on that craft, staying in there and staying focused, right? Because these other ladies, they're going to start, like I said, pushing into the division. Erin, Miranda, Manon, Casey's already in there. Whether or not you feel like Casey's, you know, whether you feel like she's green or whatever, you know, she's still in the division right now, right? She's still in there. It's a matter of how long she can stay in there and what she can do as far as improvement, right? But she's in there right now. Melissa Gatto, I believe she's going to be in there sometime by the summer. So, yeah, we're getting a good balance here. You know, some fighters, I think they'll retire, and some of these ladies are going to be the ones to retire them, right, that are coming in. As far as the champion, I think Valentina's still going to be holding that crown for now. I think she is. You know, Taylor Santos could very well be that next one, but we'll see how it goes. You know, we'll see how it goes. I give her a chance, but not a great chance, you know, because that's just how good Valentina is and how dominant she is. You know, I can't. It would be disrespectful for me to say that any of these ladies could just go in there and wash Valentina or even like make it 50-50. You know, Valentina puts too much work in for me to ever say anybody else has matched that work. You know what I mean? To a point where it's 50-50. You know, her work ethic is just like on another level, Shevchenko level, right? I pretty much got that Bullet level, Shevchenko level, whatever you want to call it. Nobody's on that right now, right? So I think Taylor Santos has a chance, but I think this year Valentina will still hold on to that belt, and, you know, the future is in her hands. You know, if she wants to stay, she can stay. 135, she can do that. You know, it's all on her. Tatiana Suarez, you know, she's another name right now that I've been kind of thinking about. You know, she's been kind of hinting at a comeback recently. You know, she's been talking about that. You know, the knee's looking better, but again, you know, we'll see. We'll see. I know she wanted to come back last year around September, but things just happen. A lot of people don't have any faith that she's coming back, really. Like some of the hardcore fans feel like she ain't going to be back. But I keep my fingers crossed for her. I pray for her, you know, because I do want to see her. I want to see her take a chance and come back because this is her love. Like, of course, everybody has a life outside of MMA, but I think it would be really crushing for her to never go in there and be able to at least try that what if, right? You know, there's always going to be that what if factor that I could have, right? So I hope she can at least get back to 97%. Now, I want her back 100% at least one more time just to see if she can get it, right? Because that's going to be a part of her life where she's going to be like, man, like, I should have taken that chance, so I wish I could have taken that chance. So I hope she can at least get back to some point into fighting shape where she can work, right? So I think maybe we'll see her sometime mid 2022 or probably in the summer, you know, hopefully we will. Like I said, with Manon Fiorot, if she can get by Jessica Eye, you know, first off, Manon, as y'all know, she's already signed her 4-fight deal. So I think this next fight will be her last fight on the first 4-fight contract. She'll be starting the next contract. And if she beats Jessica Eye, I think, you know, you'll probably see her in there with somebody like Jojua or Vivian Arujo to break her into the top 10, and maybe another 2 fights, maybe Lauren Murphy or something, or Caitlin Chookagian or the winner of Chookagian Maia somewhere in like the summertime, you know. So after she gets her fight out in March, you might see her coming back in like July or August, right? Already like 1 or 2 fights in her second contract. So with her contract, like she said, she's not sure Valentina is on there yet. It's like the last fight, but I think that's being negotiated, and that was talked about like a few months back. So it could very well be, you know, which means she could be fighting for the title in like 2023 because she's not ready for 2022 yet. You know, she's still number 14, but I think sometime in like beginning of 2023, you might see her as that next challenge for Valentina. Taylor Santos, like I said, she might be getting the title shot next, so we'll see where that goes. I think we're just all waiting on a date now because Taylor Santos said she was getting ready for something, but she didn't give us no names. So we'll see. But yeah, man, I just want to kind of go in as far as the future of the flyweight division here. I'm gonna probably do like a live stream. I'll break it down a little bit more, but that's just the gist of what I'm looking at this year for 2022 for the strawweight division. I think Carla's gonna get her shot next. Regardless of her injury, I think they're gonna wait till it gets better. She gets healed up, then she'll get that shot, and then I think if Marina Rodriguez gets by Joanna, she'll probably be next in line. She should be next in line, which will lead me into my next topic, which I'll talk about here in a minute. The Joanna situation. Like, if she beats Weili, she thinks she deserves a title shot, but I think it's going to come down to Marina. Amanda Lemos, I think, with her at number 10, she knows she's at a position where she needs to get that work in. I think she deserves to fight up regardless of what she looked like against Hill, So I think her next fight might be could be Nina Azarov. They might reschedule that, or it could be the winner of Ebas Waterson. Could be the winner of Dern Torres. Dern Torres is in the works. That's a fight I'm looking forward to. I think Torres got this fight. I think she has the skill and the strength to keep it on the feet. She has the better hands, So good fights. We got good fights all around. The unranked fighters coming in. We have Lupe Benitez still in the mix. Vanessa Demopoulos, she has a fight lined up, I think, with Ashley Yoder. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think the strawweight division, right now, to me, they're still holding it down. It's one of the more consistent divisions with a lot of talent. But the flyweight division it's right there. It's breathing down his neck, man. It's right shoulder to shoulder. I ain't gonna lie, it's shoulder to shoulder with me right now, because I like the different styles we got coming in. We have strawweights moving up. We have bantamweights moving down. Everybody's coming down to this weight of the flyweight division. Miesha Tate wants to come in. So I think all the drama right now and the excitement is with the flyweight division. But you still get a lot of great talent and great fights from the strawweights. The thing is, we just seen a lot of been there and done that, with Joanna, Zhang Weili, and Rose. You know what I mean? They already fought like so many times between each other, right? Then you have just Andrade that could come down. I think that would probably be the most interesting thing about it. But in Marina, Marina could be the new face of it. So hopefully Marina can, make that statement and come in the game right. Bantamweight division, I think, all we need to do with that division is start signing new blood. Like I talked about, the top 5 bantamweights, which includes Tanisha Tennant. You need to start signing these ladies, because bantamweight division has a lot of ladies that are, near that last, on that last leg to me. Still got a lot of women from the Ronda Rousey era there. A lot of women from the Ronda Rousey era. So you're not really getting a lot of evolved styles in there. Still a lot of the same thing, right? So we'll see, man. I just kind of want to go over the future of the flyweight division, and just the future of the UFC cards coming forward. Everything's looking good. I think it's looking about the same. UFC still consistent with it. I'm just ready to see what my quadruple threat can do in there. All right, so next topic. I did a video talking about this, a couple of days ago, right? I already kind of gave you my thoughts on this whole situation, but I just kind of want to go a little bit more in depth here, because I want to bring up a couple of other points here about this particular situation. As y'all know, Joanna is looking to come back this year. She wants to start off 2022 right. She's not hunting for that title shot anymore. It's like I said, Joanna seen that light. Joanna seen that light and said, okay, I got to go back to the drawing board, and prove that I am number one contender. So with that, she said, okay, I'll go ahead and try to get a rematch with my rival, Zhang Weili, right? She said that's the fight that she's looking forward to getting right now, because she doesn't want to wait anymore for a title shot. She wants to go ahead and fight. And, that's the good news. That's the good news there. But the one thing that just kind of put my radars up here after reading this interview was the fact that Joanna said Dana White actually offered her a title shot at the end of the year, late at the end of the year, without any other fights. He told her, hey, if you want to wait till November, December 2022, you can get a title shot. I don't know if he was trying to do that just to kind of maybe, let her fight her contract out her contract because, she only has one fight left. But that's what she said in this recent interview, And, y'all know my thoughts on that. I mean, her waiting another, 8 or 9 months, that's no good, right? That wouldn't be any good for her to wait that long and then get a title shot, right? Go right back in there with an opponent. If Rose beats Carla, an opponent that you're already familiar with, you already lost. You already lost 2 times too, right? And in between that time, you didn't fight any fights to secure that status, right? But going back before we talk about that, I will say, okay, I respect Joanna for saying, okay, I don't want to wait that long. I want to get back into the mix and, get that #1 contender fight, right, against Weili. So that's good. Like, my thoughts on that, okay, I'm cool with the fight because, the first time Joanna and Weili mixed it up, it was a good fight. It was definitely one of the best fights for WMMA. I mean, it was action-packed, 5 rounds of, skills and, a slugfest at times. They were going blow for blow. They put on a great performance, right? But even if Joanna was to win or even if Weili was to win, would that opponent really deserve a title shot? That's the next point that I kind of went over in my video, but I just want to come back and just ask that question. Okay, if this fight happens, okay, it's good entertainment. It's definitely going to bring some action. You don't know. The UFC might make it like a co-main event to make it another 5-round fight because they might want to cash in and make it a 5-round fight. Or it could very well be a 3-round fight. It don't matter, but we know they'll bring it, right? So entertainment value, yes, it's good. I definitely want to see that fight again just because it's just action on that level. There's boxing matches I've enjoyed that weren't title fights, right? So it's still the best of the best fighting at a high level and, fighting at a high pace and it's very entertaining. So it's good on that. But would the winner of this fight really deserve a title shot? And, my answer to that would be no. I'd say no because there's already been a time when Joanna's been #1 contender, many times, many a time, and she's already showed you that, okay, she still can't beat Rose Namajunas and she still can't fight at this. She can fight at this high level, definitely, right? She can, but she still came up short against Rose 2 times. She came up short against the second champion, Weili, right? And then you have Weili on this side, who's already fought the champion 2 times, lost her belt, lost in the rematch, went 0-2 against Rose Namajunas in 2021. So that's another fighter that, okay, they might still hold that #1 or #2 spot, but they still have to go back to the drawing board and work, right? They still have to go back to the drawing board and work. That's why I said Weili has to fight down. She has to fight down. She can't continue to fight up because he's fighting up. She's just going to keep fighting the same person over and over again, and she might very well lose every time, right, against Rose. So there's other fighters behind these two that deserve title shots. #1 being Carla Esparza, right? And I'll bring it up Carla Esparza. Joanna did say in this interview that one of the opponents that she wanted to fight, was Carla Esparza. She was vocal about that before. She said, hey, if anybody wants to fight, hey, if Carla wants to fight me, for a title eliminator, I'll take that. She was like, I'll take that. And then you had Weili a couple of weeks back, maybe 3 weeks back or so. She did a recent interview, and she also said, I want to come back in June, right? I want to come back in June and possibly fight Carla Esparza. So both Joanna and Weili are kind of playing this chess match or trying to play this chess match game where they can get that easy work, or they think Carla's easy work, and they want to get back in that position for another title shot. But it's like, do people really want to see that? Do people really want to see that? Like, even if they could beat Carla or whoever, do they really deserve that title shot again, even just on a business level and entertainment level? Like, even if they beat everybody else, would you want to see them fight over and over and go 0-3 and 0-2 for 0-2 or 0-3 against Rose Namajunas over and over again? No. You wouldn't want to see that. You want to see these fighters say, okay, I lost 2 times to the champ. Let me go back to the drawing board and fight down. That's how it works. If you missed out on both of your title shots, you got to fight down. That's how I've always seen it. You might still be #1, #2, but that's the rankings. We all know the rankings don't make sense sometimes, but you still got to go fight down. You got to go back and fight down to get the next person in line a title shot, right? So for Joanna, I could see where she was coming from. She called out Carla because she knew that, okay, I've been there, done that before. Carla's easy work for me. And let's be real, Carla versus Joanna, that type of style, when you match them two up, yeah, that's easy work. It's just a bad style matchup for Carla. She's dealing with a big, tall, physically strong fighter that she can't get down, right? With striking that she just can't handle. It's just overwhelming for her. So that's a style that she can't handle. For Zhang Weili, that's something she's never had before, so we don't know how that fight would go, right? So I think that would be a lot closer. But yeah, Joanna knew that, okay, if I could get in there with at least one non-title fight, let it be Carla, because that's the easiest one, less risk, high reward, I think Zhang Weili was kind of thinking the same way. They both were thinking the same way. If I get Carla out the way, that'll secure us a title shot. But again, would people really want to see that? Just because you could go in there, obliterate Carla Esparza, would you really deserve a title shot against a fighter that, you guys lost against 2 times in a row against, right? So that's just another one of those situations where I see what they're doing. They're trying to play chess to the best of their ability and get in there, but I still wouldn't take that. I still wouldn't give them Joanna that title shot, because all the while, okay, you got Carla Esparza next in line, but you have another fighter. You got another contender in there that has been putting in the hard work. She went 3-0 in 2021. She's been getting it in. She's got one of the best resumes right now, right under them, and that's Marina Rodriguez, right? Marina Rodriguez, she's got she's got the momentum. She's got a solid resume. She deserves a title shot. So if it's not Carla, it shouldn't be Joanna. It should be Marina Rodriguez. And with that, Marina is that name that nobody seems to want to be calling out, right? Don't it seem that way? Like Zhang Weili didn't say, I'll come back against Marina in June. Joanna didn't say that. Like, she's bringing her name up now in this recent interview because she knows she has Joanna next, right? Because even whenever Marina was free after her last fight, Joanna said, I don't want that fight. Everybody's trying to live off my name or eat off the name. But not really. They're just trying to fight for the title. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, beat that person to get to that next level. And I think that was Marina's way of thinking, just to say, okay, I can get past you, and then boom, that should secure my title shot. Beat a former champion like Joanna, and we're good to go, right? So that was her thinking. But Joanna, she kind of was, kind of chill. She didn't want to mention that name, but now that she's got a name, she's like, okay, now I'm coming out to fight a non-title fight, right? Because she knew if she was to come back, if Marina didn't have an opponent, Dana and McMahon and them, they probably would have lined up Marina versus Joanna next, right? But now that Marina's lined up with Joanna on March 4th, Joanna can come out and say, okay, the only way I'll fight a non-title fight again is if it's a familiar face, which is Zhang Weili. I wanted the easy work, familiar face, Carla, but it didn't go that way, right? So I see what they're kind of doing there. They're just playing chess, but sometimes, you just have to go with what's logic, and that's Carla. And then the next fighter should be Marina. So, yeah, the rematch with Zhang Weili and Joanna is cool. I'll watch it. It's entertaining, but I don't think the winner of the fight deserves a title shot right away. I actually think they got to get in the third place in line. You got to have Carla, Marina, and then the winner of this fight, just to be fair. Even then, I think people would still kind of question that winner of that fight getting it, because, again, between the two of them, that's 4 losses, to Rose Namajunas, right? That's 4 losses to Rose Namajunas, right? So we'll see, though, man. Yeah, another thing I just wanted to say was, it's crazy that Carla's got that target on her back, man. Like, Carla got in that position on a 5-fight win streak. Everybody's been wanting her. Joanna's wanted it. Zhang Weili's wanted it. Marina's the only one that kind of said, okay, I'll give her a pass. I lost to her, she should be next, right? But nobody's calling out Marina, though. Marina's number 3, but nobody wants to fight her. And I thought Zhang Weili versus Marina would have been a good fight. I actually thought that would have been a good fight. I think I would have preferred that more than Joanna, But, yeah, Joanna, like I said, I'm glad she's coming back, but I think she just got to get in line. I think she just has to get back in line. She doesn't deserve that title shot yet. Even off of this win, no, I still want to see Carla get hers, then Marina get hers. But, I was thinking, too, though, I talked about this a little bit in that video, though, because Dana White, like I said, when he said, from what she said, he offered her a title shot. He's like, if you sit out, wait a little bit longer, November, December, you can get a title shot, right? So I'm a little bit worried now. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried. So would Joanna, off of this win, if she beats Zhang Weili in a rematch, would she be able to slide ahead of Marina Rodriguez if Marina Rodriguez beat Joanna? Like, is that the whole setup here? Because both of these fights that are happening, you know, they could both be seen as title eliminators. You know, Marina versus Joanna on March 5th, that could very well be a title shot for Marina Rodriguez, I think, if she wins, right? You know, because she'll be on a 4-fight win streak and defeated some of the top 5 fighters, right? So that could very well be a title shot for her. Then on the other side, Weili versus Joanna 2, you know, that's now the unranked Joanna versus the number 1 in Weili. And the way, you know, Joanna's talking, like, she's like, hey, if I get this fight, I should get a title shot. She's only looking at one fight for a title shot, right? So Marina's got to be careful here. You know, Joanna might slide in ahead, right? Joanna's trying to find some way to slide ahead of Marina Rodriguez to get that title shot, you know? So it could be that way. Like, I did a poll, but everybody, you know, pretty much agrees when you think logically, Marina versus Joanna winner deserves the next title shot. You know, for one, it's new blood. We've already seen that before. Neither one of them faced the champion. And for Marina, if she wins, you know, she deserves it. She'll be on a 4-fight win streak, right? Whereas the winner of the winner of Weili and Joanna, yeah, they're former champions. Yeah, they've been there. But again, 0-4. Together, they're 0-4 against Rose. So that just stands my point again. It's just an entertaining fight at this point. It's not really a title shot. So with that, I know we're thinking logic. I'm thinking logic. But I'd be worried, you know, if I was Marina, I would be worried. You know, I would start calling for that title. If you beat Joanna, I'd start calling for that title. Say, Joanna, you better step back. This is my fight. If you really want the title shot, one more time, let's fight. And then boom, winner of that fight gets the winner of Rose Carla if she really wants to do it. You know what I mean? So Marina's got to be careful here, because I think that might be a tactic that's coming up. You know, Marina might be able to slide. Joanna might actually be able to slide in ahead of Marina, thinking, you know, if she beats Weili, she can get that title shot. You know, Weili, I don't know so much if she would do that. Like, if Weili beats Joanna in a rematch, I think she would be humble enough to kind of stand back. She might call out Marina Rodriguez at this point if Marina beats Joanna, but I think Weili wouldn't be as vocal, so Marina would get her title shot. But if Joanna beats Weili convincingly in a rematch, oh hell, man, you know it's gonna be on. You know, she's gonna be trying to slide ahead of Marina. So Marina got to be careful. You know, Marina has to make sure she goes in there and just, you know, dominates and gets Joanna out of there. And right after the fight, she's got to call Rose out. Right? So got to think about that. I might talk about that a little bit more in the video and just see if y'all really want to, you know, if people really want to see that, like the winner of these two fights, who should be the title, who should be getting the title shot, right? But yeah, look, it's crazy out there right now with the politics, man. When you really think about it, it is crazy, because also think about this too. Joanna said that Dana said if you sit out, she said, okay, Dana said you sit out a little bit longer, I'll give you a title shot in November and December, right? But to me, that's a little bit, you know, contradicting some of his statements he's made in the past, because in one interview he says, Joanna, you know, she's been out this long and she thinks she could just come back and get a title shot. No, it don't work that way. He's like, no, it don't work that way, Joanna. You sit out for over 2 years, think you can come back and get a title shot. It don't work that way. He said that in one interview, right? And then in his interview, you know, about Carla Esparza, whenever her name comes up as title shot, she next, he'll say, we got another option. Why? Because Carla wants to sit out, and I never recommend sitting out. And Carla just wanted to sit out a few additional months because, you know, she wanted to get ready for the title shot. You know, she beat Joanna in June, and she wanted to sit out, you know, however long is the turnaround time, maybe, 6 months plus maybe 2 or 3, maybe till like April of this year coming. You know what I mean? Maybe she wanted to sit out like a good 8 or 9 months to prepare for the title, right? And, you know, Dana, he goes on record to say, oh, you know, like, I wouldn't recommend anybody sitting out. That's not a good idea to sit out. You know, she shouldn't be sitting out. She should be staying active. She should be fighting. When she already fought 5 fights, right? Whereas Joanna, you let her sit out an additional 8 or 9 months, pushing 3 years, and you give her a title shot with no fights in between, right? So that's a little bit, you know, he's being a little bit hypocritical there. You know, he's being kind of a hypocrite there. Okay, one breath you say, okay, I don't want nobody to sit out, but then you offer her a title shot all the way out in November, December, pushing 3 years in activity, and you pretty much reward that with the title shot, right? So if he said that, which I don't know if he did or not, I think that's pretty much wrong. Yes, that's just wrong because Carla just done her 5 fights, beat everybody that she could in the top 15, and she wants to just sit out a few months to get ready for the big fight. There's nothing wrong with that, So you give her issue for that, but you tell Joanna if you wait out a few months longer, you'll get a title shot. Just like that. Come on. But it was actually Joanna that actually kind of fell into that and said, okay, no, I don't want to wait that long. I'll actually fight a non-title fight now, So maybe he just said that to kind of use reverse psychology. Maybe he just kind of used reverse psychology on her and said, yeah, I'll give you a title shot, but it's going to be at the end of the year. Then she thought about it and was like, oh, man, I'll be out about 3 years. No way. I'll fight Weili until then, right? And he was probably like, yeah, she fell into my plan, right? So, yeah, that was just kind of my way of thinking about that, y'all. I just had to kind of go back and look at them different points here because, there's a lot of politics that come into play here. And if you're not on your game, that's why I say like a lot of these fighters, it is about the fight, but there's still that business side too, where you have to be vocal and you have to play those social media games at times, just to kind of be out there more and put your worth out there. You know what I mean? Like even like for Marina, she's a hard worker. She's a good fighter, hell of a fighter. But there has to be a time that you actually say, okay, I got to put myself out there more, even like, similar to how Julianna does. Maybe not in the same words, but you got to make it known that, look, this is still entertainment, and I got to make myself seen. I got to be seen, right? So people will get behind me, So my final thoughts on this part. Joanna, I think Weili, that's a good rematch. I'll take it. Good entertaining fight, but even the winner of that fight doesn't deserve a title shot. Maybe if they get third in line, like I said, Carla's going first, Marina next, and then the winner of this fight, that's fine. Because even after that, you could argue the winner of Joanna Weili might get it because Joanna, she needs to fight down, really. Mackenzie Dern still needs to get that work in. She has to fight Tisha Torres coming up next, so we'll see. Amanda Lemos is number 10, but she still got some work to do. You know what I mean? I think eventually she'll get there, but right now, hell, we don't even know. Like Amanda Lemos could look that part. Amanda Lemos could look that part in a couple months. Like if Amanda Lemos get another fight or two, she might be title shot worthy. She might be title shot worthy by the end of 2022, right? We don't know. So yeah, man. Joanna, like I said, I enjoy her fights. People always mix it up. They say, oh man, like you bashing her, whatever. No, man, all I'm saying is renew your status. Just get back in there, do your thing with one more fight, and that's it. That's it. Get a fight or two and prove to everybody that you deserve the title shot. Especially when you already lost to the champion twice, you got to go back and prove your worth. Not every single fight is strap season, especially when you still can't come up with the code to crack against Rose Namajunas, right? So yeah, let's see what else we got. All right, let's see. Last topic for this episode. We just been talking basically about what the future of 2022, the future of WMMA, and it's looking good. It's looking good. I ain't gonna lie. Like as long as fights, as long as we don't get any more cancellations, which we will, I think we've been looking all right. So let's see. This is an interesting topic though. Shout out to Marcus Bell. He actually asked me to talk about this recent there's a recent interview with Liana Jojua. Shout out to WMMA Rankings. They actually posted up the article, and I got a chance to read through it, because Marcus asked me to kind of discuss it. But yeah, I give my thoughts on the whole situation with her as well, because as of right now, well, I'm gonna say right now, but right after Liana Jojua was cut from the UFC, it kind of put her in a bad place, right? Liana Jojua, she just recently opened up about getting cut from the UFC, and she had some interesting things to say. She said it seemed to really put her in a dark place. I mean, as y'all know, Liana Jojua, her last fight in the UFC was back in November 2021 against Courtney Casey, in which she lost a pretty lopsided decision. I think it was like, 30-27 for sure, right? And that gave her a record of 1-3 in the UFC. And not only that, she missed weight. Whenever she missed weight, I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely going to be her last fight. I'm not joking. Like, I knew whenever she missed weight and she was 1-3, I was like, okay, Last straw. That's the last straw. And on top of that, you also have to factor in that the UFC is signing a lot of new flyweights. So the minute that someone's on a rocky road, they're going to get bumped off. You know, they got to make room for the promising prospects. You know, like the Manones, the Gattos, the Casey O'Neills, the Blanchfields, all these girls that are doing good. You know, they have to make room for them. Like I said, there's like over 20 unranked flyweights. So the minute somebody's looking bad or missing weight, they got to go. You know, they got to go. They got to cut some costs out, right? So let me see here. Let me pull up this interview with Liana Jojua. Just kind of read through it with y'all. Let's see what she said here. After losing her fight. Okay. So she said, for a week or two, I practically did not use the phone. I closed myself in and did not go out of this state and wasn't able to think about the future and make plans again. Of course, now my condition is much better. She said, the UFC is the best organization in the world with the best fighters and the most media attention. I think this was a good period in my life. I learned a lot. After working on myself, I will try to return to the UFC. Then everything will be different. When I signed with the UFC, I was just 23 years old. Some people do not even dream of being in the UFC at this age, and I already have such a serious experience behind me. I have enough time to work on myself and get back in there. So, yeah, she had kind of a rough start. She said, she had a young start. So that, that's definitely part of why, that premature jump to the UFC is why she didn't have that success, because even going back and looking at some of her fights early on, I always kind of thought she was too green to just jump straight to the UFC when I heard about her signing. But, after getting cut, she was in that dark space because, she knew that organization, that's like that's the dream goal. That's the goal. That's the dream for every fighter now, right? Because the UFC is the biggest platform out there. It's seen that way. Everybody sees John Jones. They seen the Anderson Silvas. Now they seen, Kamaru Usman, all these fighters that come to the UFC and become these stars, right? So for Liana Jojua to get signed and then get cut, it's almost kind of like you're being left out, right? So that would kind of put you in a dark state, right? But my thoughts on this whole situation right now, I don't think that this should be a time for her to be upset, really. It shouldn't be a time for her to be upset or depressed. She did get the opportunity that, many fighters dream of getting. She signed to the UFC back in, 2019? If she was 23, let's see, and that means she did have something that caught the UFC's eye. You think about it. That does mean she has something that caught the UFC's eye. She just wasn't fully ready to grasp on for that ride. She said herself that the UFC is the organization with the best fighters. So that means coming in on the lower tier, you can't just start feeling yourself. The UFC has the best fighters. You still have to show up and show and prove because, if you're not ready and you underestimate even the lowest ranked fighters, even the lowest ranked fighters you face, you'll go in there and get schooled. Right, that's why you got to remember, if it's the best of the best, remember that even the number 15 and the lower ranked fighters, they'll take you to school. And that's what happened. Jojua, she lost her debut against Sarah Morris, who isn't really like the best fighter in the world, but she showed that she still had a lot of experience under her belt, and she stopped her. She stopped Liana Jojua. So that was a big test for her. We already kind of saw what Jojua was going to be bringing to the table, right? We could kind of gauge her. I know that Sarah Morris is a big fighter, but that should have told her, hey, I got to make adjustments, And, that just showed me, like I said, she just has a lot more work cut out, But she came back, fought Diana Belbita, right? She fought Diana Belbita next, who she got a finish over in 2020. Then a few months later, she took on Miranda Maverick, got stopped in that fight, via cut, but it's still a stoppage. So, that put her at 1-2, and now she loses to Courtney Casey. And on top of that, like I said, missed weight. She missed weight. So, you can't really say, okay, this is the time for me to be depressed, because if you really look at it, you'd have to be more so just disappointed in yourself. Like maybe disappointed, not depressed like it's the end of the world, but maybe just disappointed like you failed the test, like you didn't give it your all. It's just should just be a time where you can say, okay, all right, I got to go back to the drawing board. All right, like I gotta stay focused. This is what I did wrong. If I don't do it again, everything should be fine, right? You got to be disappointed more in yourself for not taking full advantage of that opportunity at an early age. Because there's a lot of fighters that don't make it. Like she said herself, some fighters, they just see it as a dream. Like there's a lot of fighters that don't make it to their 30s or they never make it at all. So to sign early and get that opportunity, you always have to be on your stay ready. That's what I always say, right? And, for her signing too early, this is kind of what I was saying about Jojua a while back, even when she first got signed. But I did bring this up. Like when I first seen her in 2017 and 2018 on the regional circuit, I said, okay, she has skills. She's got skills. She's still growing. Same thing I said about Nadia Kassim. She was in the same situation, like 4-0 from a lower organization. And then they jumped her up there all of a sudden. And I was like, oh, no, she ain't ready. I was like, she ain't ready. Same situation here. She had skills and she's growing. But the wins she was getting, even in the lower organizations, they looked impressive because of the competition. I never thought that, okay, just because she's, beating these girls overseas that she's ready to go. She should have went somewhere like LFA or like Invicta FC. That would have been a good move for that's a good move for all these little 20-somethings. These young fighters in the game, they still young girls, still growing. There's always time. There's always time. So they have to go to these organizations like LFA and Invicta to grow, or even like Combate or Octagon, They got to go to these organizations like Erin Blanchfield, Miranda Maverick, Kay Hansen. And you see Kay Hansen, she still got work to do. She still got work to do. So there's still a lot to learn. And even with Miranda, Miranda, I think she's one of the smartest fighters out there, but there's still moments where she has to get that focus right because she's still young, right? She's still a young head. Then you got the girls like I say, Erin Blanchfield, they're growing. And then, they got their eyes on the prize, but they got it by, starting at the lower level and, just graduating each tier. That's why I say that's where she should have went instead of, those lower organizations, then those regional organizations overseas, then go boom to the UFC. That's not good. That wasn't good. But that's the thing, that's the thing. Sometimes you get pushed quick and that hard road isn't established. It can be an eye-opener. It can definitely be an eye-opener. When you find out that you're not as good as you thought, I definitely I could probably feel her while she was in that dark state because, when people are telling you that you are that good and then the UFC does sign you and you think that, okay, I got everything I need, right? You think that mental checklist is good to go, right? You think that mental checklist is good to go because the UFC said so, right? But sometimes you got to think the UFC, they might be looking for certain things at the time. They might just be looking for a pretty face or they might just be looking for a body, right? They might just be looking for a body. So you got to be careful. You got to say, okay, why are they out to sign me this early in my career? Like even some of these girls coming from LFA, Tabitha Ricci, Elise Reed, they're all good strawweights. I talk about them on my channel because I see promise in them at strawweight. But the day the UFC calls them to go up to 125 against a Manon or a Sarge, you got to be like, uh-oh, should I take that fight? Should I take it just because it's an opportunity or should I go in there and risk, suffering a very bad beating with this girl that's, twice my size? You know what I mean? Like for Manon and Tabitha Ricci. So just because the UFC signing you doesn't always mean that you have it, right? That's something you gotta find for yourself and your team around you. They gotta tell you that you have it. Like if, I have a fighter and she's 4-0 or 5-0, and I know she's only been fighting like local level, local professional level, but they're professional fights, and she's getting in like 5 or 6 and she's winning. But if the UFC calls, I'm gonna be like, I don't think you should do it yet. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be like, I don't think you should do it yet because we haven't graduated. We haven't went to that second and third tier. We haven't done LFA. We haven't done Invicta FC, right? So why are we here? So sometimes you got to think about that too. Like for Liana Jojua, she probably was feeling herself when the UFC signed her. Then all of a sudden, boom, it's not easy. Sarah Morris beat me. Miranda Maverick beat me. Courtney Casey beat me. Well, couldn't focus. I missed weight. Now the UFC, the people I thought were believing in me and have faith in me, they're cutting me. 1-3. They don't tolerate missing weight. On top of that, it's my third loss. Dang, I'm gone. So I could understand why she was in that dark state now. As I'm just talking about it now throughout this episode, I'm just kind of saying, okay, if you feel like everything is riding for you and everybody's for you, then all of a sudden, boom, they cut you. It would put you in a dark place, right? Because you feel like this is the end game, right? The UFC is where it's at. I'm where everybody else wants to be, right? So, yeah, I can see that. But I'm glad she's out of it now, because there's a lot of room for her to grow. Only 26 years old. There's a lot to do. There's a lot she can do. Moving forward, it's not a time to get depressed and lose and just lose it, especially when you're only 26. The only thing you can do from here, if you want to get back to the UFC, is put that work in. Put that work in. Go back, look at those mistakes and those weaknesses. And Jojua has to say, look, I still have a lot to offer. Let me get my stand up right, work on my timing, my speed, my ground game, so my takedown defense, my clinch control, defense, everything. Just go back to the drawing board and say, okay, this is what we got to work on. We got to commit to pressure, and we can't fight behind opponents. We got to be first, right? Stop being predictable. And by doing all of that, got to go back and earn those stripes. Got to go back and earn those ranks by going to Invicta FC and LFA. The same fighters like Angela Hill, they had to go back after they got cut, got re-signed to the UFC. Even, like I said, Angela Hill, she had to do that. So it's a learning experience. Like I always say, don't take the L as a loss. Take it as a learning experience. So, yeah, shout out to Liana, Jojua. Keep your head up. You'll get back in there as soon as you can. Because like I said, a lot of the younger generation now, they want it now. They want stuff now. They don't ever... It's hard for them to understand hard work sometimes. Like, I'm sure she works hard, but it's almost like they think things should be given to them. Not pointing a finger at her, but, there are a lot of fighters like that. They want to, cut corners and act like, okay, this should be given to me because I did a little bit of this and a little bit of that, right? But y'all, they got to look at the hard work even, fighters like back in the day used to put in, 10 years of work, 10 years of BJJ, or 20 years, before they get their black belt, 20 years of wrestling, day in, day out of takedown defense, getting your ass kicked in the gym constantly, taking on boxing matches on the amateur circuit or professional circuit, right? So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Look at what Valentina Shevchenko does, right? It's not an easy path. Definitely not an easy path. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that whole situation with Liana, Jojua. I might do another video and just, talk about it on a corner talk episode, and might maybe do a live stream of it, because I don't know if too many people heard about this, but yeah, everything will turn out all right for it. So yeah, let's see. Before I bounce on this episode, let's see, what do I got coming up this year? For me, like I said, I've been enjoying the channel. I got some things planned for 2022. I still want to keep doing the round by rounds for the channel. But I asked everybody, I did a little poll. I said, hey, did I do it? Yeah, I did a poll. Yeah. I asked y'all, do y'all want me to do do y'all want me to stick with just WMMA fights, or do you want me to do round by rounds, like with men's fights as well? It's kind of 50-50. I'm surprised. A lot of people said no. A lot of people said yes. Like 51% said yes. 49% said no. But I might do one here and there. Like, I might do more of the big fights. You know what I mean? Like the bigger fights. I might do some of the, the more mainstream fights with the men, and then kind of go down from there, just to kind of introduce it a little bit to the channel. I know, I do a lot of WMMA, and that's what y'all want to hear. But there's a lot of people that do ask me about the men's fights. I got some subscribers that say, do you talk about the men as well? So I said, okay, maybe I'll give it a run. Like I said, I'll just start off with some of the high-level fights and, kind of go from there. Give some of y'all, a little variety, Like, it ain't going to take away from what I do with WMMA, because I already know it. It's like with boxing. You ask me a boxing question, Want me to do a boxing video, I'll do it. It's just, all in the mind with me, like if I feel like talking about it, or if you got a question, I give you my thoughts. That's all it is. So it's just about making time for it, really. So yeah, that's something I'm looking to do in 2022. What else? Let's see. I want to also, I also want to do some more. Well, I want to start doing some top 10 videos, maybe top 5. I want to do some top 5 knockout videos, top 5 knockouts, top 5 fighters, top 5 fights I wanted to see that never happened, so be on the lookout for that, because that's going to be a good one. I think I'm going to do top 5 fights that I wished happened that never happened, like I said, top 5 finishes, submissions or knockouts, top 5 pioneers in WMMA, just some different ideas I'm kind of shooting out there. But yeah, those kind of videos are definitely coming in 2022. I think, I start doing videos like that, maybe incorporate little highlight clips, maybe, I'm not sure, because I don't know how the UFC is going to be about copyright strikes. So it might just come to how I edit the videos. So, I think that'll be good for WMMA as well. But yeah, guys, final thoughts. Yeah, looking forward to 2022. Like I said, definitely want to see more from Bellator, their flyweight division. And yeah, man, be on the lookout for all that stuff I was telling you about, more round by round fights, WMMA, like I said, a few men fights as well. I'm going to start adding that in. Like, I might do a couple Cyril Gane fights, since, that's coming up in a couple weeks. I might do 1 or 2 next week. We'll see. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all gone in this episode. Make sure y'all subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel, Combo Breaker 99. I always appreciate my, new subscribers and old subscribers. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it as long as y'all subscribe, guys. But like always, Combo Breaker 99. Happy New Year. I am out. Subscribe. Peace.